Welcome to Sew and Tell, where sewists from fashion, theater, and indie sewing bring their different perspectives to the hottest topics in the sewing community. I'm Meg Healy.
I'm Amanda Carestio.
And I'm Kate Zynard. Today on the podcast, we're talking about buying fabric online. Since it's harder to buy in fabric stores right now, we thought that would be a useful topic. Amanda is going to share her expertise on finding what you want and also share some fabulous fail stories. Then we'll talk about the makers in our lives and sharing our love of sewing with them. We'll each share a little something in our SewJo segment. Then we'll ask you to share something too. But first, how's everybody doing? Everybody hanging in there this kind of chilly Monday?
Yeah, the weather's kind of throwing me for a loop today, honestly. I think it's, I don't even know what to sew for this.
I know. Oh. But at least it's not snowing. It's just in the 50s.
Well, actually, some places I've been seeing on Instagram, I woke up at places in Ontario near Toronto have had snow, like light dustings of snow and stuff. It was snowing yesterday. I was looking out my window and I saw the flurries. It was crazy.
Oh. So it's like we're trading our weather patterns here.
Yeah. Oh.
I know. I sewed some shorts this weekend, actually. It took a little bit of time. And sewed them really quickly, just a little hack. And then it was kind of too cold to wear them, but I wore them anyway and just froze.
I saw, are those the yellow ones?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
They're so cute. Those are Nini's, like cropped?
They are, yep. Yep. Yeah, that was some thrifted fabric that I found. And I definitely, I don't sew a lot of shorts. I don't wear them a whole bunch, except for in the summer, like when we're hiking and stuff like that. And every summer I'm think to myself, I should probably take some time to sew some shorts. So this year I did. So I'm ready.
Whenever and it's supposed to warm up pretty quick. So
no. I mean, I generally kind of like the back and forth Colorado weather, that it's not like super cold for a super long period of time, and it's and it tends to go back and forth. But it does. I think this time of year, I just don't know what to sew yet.
Yeah, I always get a little cranky when we get the cold days in May.
Yeah.
But usually they're kind of the end of it, and we're moving away from that now. So,
Is that the only thing you sewed this weekend, Amanda?
Yeah, I cut out a few projects. I was kind of in a cutting out projects mood. So I try to take advantage of that when it hits, because it's usually, I'm not feeling it. But yeah, that was it for me. How about you?
I was in that mood on Saturday night. I cut out a bunch of projects. I ended up on Saturday, I sewed 3 Sherwood tops. I showed 3 different versions. Nice. And then yesterday I made another ruffly willow tank with the ruffled hem, and I made a pair of pants. So I sewed 4 tops and a pair of pants.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
I think you're starting to outdo Amanda in her constant sewing.
It's just when it's just so weird. I was sitting on the couch and I just got up and just went to my studio. I said, I need to just sew right now.
It was nothing wrong with it.
I know.
No, not at all.
It's just the way that, and I go to bed thinking about, so it's just, I'm embracing this time right now because it's just kind of I don't know. It's just helping me out right now. And I'm loving it. And I'm just using up so many scrap fabrics because and even in the willow tank, I didn't have enough to cut the front and the back. So I cut the back in a different fabric from the front that was complementary, but the ruffles, all this. So I was just trying to just use up stuff. And it's been fun. But I made the pair of pants that I made was my tried and true. So now I have 4 pairs of those Berta pants that I love. So I made a green khaki pair.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect for this time of year though. And into summer too. I feel like that particular pattern is so good. In many different seasons. So you'll get a lot of wear out of those.
Yeah. And I also have right behind me, I have another Intero shell cut out and another willow in white.
You're going to be ready. You're going to be so ready when summer comes.
I'm going to be so ready. Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
I didn't actually sew anything this weekend. I was not feeling it. My feet were bothering me. So, but I did get a whole bunch of inspiration for, so my hair is getting longer and it's starting to kind of get in my face a little bit more. And Meg's been wearing these cute headbands. And so I got a little inspiration going on, and I spent a good chunk of the weekend crocheting. And there was one that was knit, some little headbands and kerchiefs to kind of keep my hair back when it's starting to annoy me. So that's what I did with my weekend. I knitted and crocheted. I have a subscription to it's a yarn subscription, and they send a ball of yarn every month, but they're not, huge balls of yarn. So they're, you have to find little projects for them. But this turned out headbands and little kerchiefs are really great for little balls of yarn. So.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah. See,
I love that.
Right now.
Nice. I forget to make accessories and stuff like that, but I love making headbands and stuff, especially with like knit fabric scraps.
Yeah. I used to make a lot more of them, but I just wear them like literally. Because when I wash my face, I put them in, and then this is me just intentionally forgetting to take it off from my morning face wash, and so I just leave it on. I don't purposely ironically, this one matches my like kind of peach minky top that I'm wearing right now, but
nice.
Anyways,
I love it.
I love that, Kate. It's so cute.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right. Shall we get started?
Yeah. I know. I even just doing some like research for this episode, I already have like some fabric in my cart again, even though I just ordered some on the weekend, and I've just been crazy ordering.
I know it's a dangerous door to open.
Oh yes. So in sewing, there is truly no better feeling when the fabric package arrives and you rip it open and you see your online fabric purchase for the first time. And when you can't get to a fabric store, a great option is to actually shop for fabric online. So how often do we shop for fabric online? What's our kind of experience with shopping for fabric?
Mine's kind of moderate. I will, if there's something I know I want that I'm sure I can't find at my local fabric store, I'll go online looking for it. And then sometimes I just end up browsing around looking for ideas, and then I, am weak and buy things that I probably shouldn't. So I don't think I do it as extensively as Amanda, but I definitely shop online now and again. And of course, now the only fabric I've successfully purchased since the quarantine began has been from an online fabric store. So
yeah, I shop pretty regularly online for fabric. And I think has a lot to do with the fact that I plan things far in advance. And I used to do this a lot more. I haven't been doing it as much in recent years, that I would kind of shop online seasonally. So like do a bigger order with stuff that I know I'm going to make for the next season at the start of each season, and then kind of fill in between there with kind of less planned purchases online, with a mix of going to fabric stores near me and buying some kind of one-off fabrics as well. So I'd say that I've done it fairly extensively. A large part of that is due to the fact as well that oftentimes my family will get me gift certificates to fabric stores.
Right.
And so, I use those for online purchases quite often. So yeah.
I was going to say, how are they still filled? Are they all cashed in? Because you usually get them for the holidays, right?
Yeah. Oh, I pretty much spend them before I get them.
Yeah, I was wondering if you still. I was I'm sure they're all gone and cleared up.
I feel like, I don't know. I usually have like tabs on my phone with fabric and carts.
Really?
Yeah. And it's not that I buy it all. I just like to fake like fabric shop online. It's one of my hobbies. I thought everybody did it.
Oh, that's funny.
Just like late night if I can't sleep or something, I'll hop on. Or, I think another thing that happens quite often is I follow a lot of fabric stores on Instagram. I think that's, it's either a good thing or a bad thing. But pretty steady stream of shopping inspiration there.
Nice. Yeah, until like recently, I never shop for fabric online. And now I just like I'm becoming, like I just ordered so much in the past like couple of weeks. I think it's because I'm getting this sewing like splurt and now I'm kind of running out of bigger yardage of things because I have so many like offcuts and random cuts. And so it's been really fun to do. So have you fabric shopping online. So do you actually have a specific project, like generally project in mind, and then you go find the fabric, or you just kind of browse and let the fabric lead you and then determine what you're going to make with it once you get it in? Or is it a mix?
For me, I usually go with a planned pattern. I'm looking for something specific. Though occasionally I'll find something and be like, oh, this is great. But I usually decide what I want to make with it before I order the yardage. So I make sure that I'm getting enough.
Oh, right. Yes. That's true. So you know how much to order.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, I think that I usually have something in mind. I don't know. I haven't really, aside from Instagram, I feel like most of the online shopping that I've done, it's kind of harder to browse. Like it's kind of harder to just find something by chance. You kind of have to be looking for something specific. So, but I will occasionally buy something online that I don't necessarily have a plan for. But I think more of those kind of impulse buys happen in person. Just because, I don't know how it would even work, but some kind of shopping platform that was more browsable just for fun, instead of going in, I know I need some denim and I need, this and this and this. So yeah, I definitely, I got a plan.
Yeah, it's hard to look through fabrics just in general on an online fabric store. You have to kind of have a starting category that you want to look at, or else it's just not going to happen. There's just too much.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was doing. I literally I bought 6 different fabrics from 2 different places, and I'm still waiting for them to come in. I'm so excited. But, and I have 0 plans for any of them.
Okay, awesome.
I just kind of went, because I'm so new to like online fabric shopping. I guess, well, for me, there's a difference between, we do a lot with our jobs. Like if we're working with a company that has like, then I would have a plan. They're providing fabric for this project, for that. And so but for me, like, this is my first like personal experience with shopping online. So, but I guess some of those tips like really do carry over, because there are huge hurdles with online fabric shopping. Like, you can't feel it, you can't see it. So I don't know, let's talk about that. Like what are some things that you can do to kind of get a better idea of like different colors? Like when I was trying to look at it 3 different screens, like my phone, my computer, and then like my Julian's computer, because he gets different, to kind of get like if it was so different from each one, or it's just hard to sometimes know color if you're color matching.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that the color thing is something where you're just going to have to accept that that's the way it's going to be shopping online. It's like, I'm going to, okay, so this is black, so I'm going to expect it to come in black.
Yeah.
But, this is bone and this is ivory, and I need to hope that I'm going to get kind of the color I want. And I think you can't go too hard into making sure that, this has to match this other fabric absolutely exactly, unless they are like from the same, they're like basically the same fabric in different weights or something. You're just going to have to say, okay, I'm going to have to be okay with this shade of coral coming in a little pinker or a little oranger, depending on how it comes in, because I don't really have any control over that.
Yeah, one thing that I do sometimes, like if I know who the maker is, or, the particular brand of fabric, and there are a couple out there, sometimes I will like do a Google search for that color and check out the color on other websites just to see how they compare.
That's a good idea.
Because I can't tell you how many like yards of olive fabric that I have ordered that comes in and it's just gray. Like that just keeps happening to me. And I don't know. I do think, I don't know, maybe some colors are trickier than others. But I think if you can compare it to another website, sometimes you can get a slightly better view.
Yeah, that's actually real. I didn't think about that. That's this segment is basically just me asking kind of Amanda questions and my limited tip knowledge.
Well, saying that I have a lot of tips is kind of a misnomer because I just have a lot of fails.
I know, but that's like the best tips come from fails.
Yeah,
like
totally.
Like, and I want to hear all of the fails. I love a good fail.
Oh my God. I have so many. One other tip that I have that I have, just kept in mind over the years. I think, again, this isn't always the case with garment fabrics, but if you kind of know the maker, then I don't know, I have a little bit more trust and faith when I order fabrics from like anything from Robert Kaufman. I know it's going to come and be high quality. And also Telio Fabrics, which I believe is Canadian based. Yeah. I think that, you can just kind of make things a little bit of a safer bet for yourself if you know a maker and you've ordered them before, order them again, and save your kind of last minute impulse purchases for in person, because those are just harder to know what you're actually going to get.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. So my tips. Do you mind if I give a couple tips?
Yes. I don't mind. Yes.
You don't mind?
Okay. I was about to say I mind, but then I meant to say I don't mind.
It's fine.
Oh, geez. Case of the Mondays over here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So some places will have a basically a fabric weight measurement.
Yes, exactly.
It might be grams per yard. It might be pounds, something like that. And it's generally different depending on where you are. But if you look at that, you can usually get a feel for how heavy a fabric is going to be, because that's part of your thing. You look at it and it's like, okay, so this is medium weight. What does medium weight mean? And so I find that to be very useful. They usually also have some descriptions. They'll tell you if it's sheer. They'll tell you if it's opaque. They'll usually describe a little bit of the hand, if it's really drapey, if it's kind of stiff, that sort of thing. They'll usually mention if it's got a sheen. And so you can kind of take all of those clues together and try to figure out, is this going to be something that's going to work for me or not? And of course, they have the fabric percentages. So you can also, decide if this is a very lightweight sheer polyester, maybe that's going to be hideously staticky and I just don't want to go with that.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe you do. Maybe you love staticky polyester. I don't know. I don't judge. But that's how I usually make my decisions before I make something like that, before I buy something like that. And it hasn't really steered me wrong yet. The only thing I've run into is a knit that didn't have a lot of recovery. But other than that, I've mostly been successful. So that's what I like to look at. All those little details.
I feel like knits in general are a lot harder to buy online than wovens. I feel like a lot of my fails have come from that, just because, you can look at all of that information, and I'd say, the more information the site has, the better. And
yes,
I feel like I'm more inclined to buy from people who have all of those various kinds of information out there. But even then with knits, there's just so much, like you mentioned the recovery, Kate. There's just so many variables into how they hang and how sheer they're going to be.
Right.
That comes up all the time for me.
Well, and usually when you're talking about that list of things that they describe, they don't usually describe the recovery. They might describe the stretch, but they're not going to say, and it recovers really well, but if you wear this without an elastic band in it, it will fall off eventually because it's just going to grow with your movement, which is what happened to me.
Oh, no.
I know. I guess I would say, like, it's still, even if you do all your research, it's still it's not an exact science.
Yeah.
I believe the word that we used to describe it when we were talking about this was crapshoot. And I feel like maybe it's a little better than that. But because you can go into it with making your best educated guess, but you also just kind of have to, be open to what comes. Maybe you have to change your plan a little bit, and maybe that's okay.
You might open it up and find that what you've got in front of you is not going to work for what you planned, and you're just going to have to plan something else.
Yeah, adjust or diet, which I do sometimes. The other thing I will say too is I really like online stores that have an Instagram presence and they post a lot of pictures. You know,
seeing a fabric,
you don't just see the little swatch, you see the full thing. Maybe there's a lot of places create little videos showing the fabric moving, which I think is really helpful. But just seeing it in natural light, I think sometimes, and you know, if you've maybe if you've ordered from them before, or you're kind of loyal to that one store, you know that the images that they put up on Instagram are really pretty true to life colors. So I think the more imagery you can view before you buy, the better, which just doesn't always happen, particularly with some of the bigger online fabric stores.
Yeah, so definitely the more information that they provide you, the better. And I love when they even provide what I like when they say, you know, it's good for dresses and black, like even not even specific. I know some get really specific about this particular pattern, but I like when they suggest, you know, good for, you know, pants and skirts, but maybe like it's not good for a blouse. Like I think Mood does that where they say just the general garment that it's good for, and that's like a really good indicator for the weight. Because sometimes like I don't know, like what you were talking about, Kate, like the weight, like the grams per like square meter or something. If I read that number, I'll be like, okay, like what does that mean? Like, do I weigh? Like, and I don't know sometimes like what that. I guess because I don't have too much experience, like putting the number to a fabric that I order and kind of putting those two together. But I could see the more you do that, because I could just look at the number, like, okay, like cool.
I have a base one that I got one time, and I'm like, okay, this is 170 grams per meter. So now I know if I'm ordering something that's 280, it's going to be a certain amount heavier than this.
That's what I need to do. Yeah. You need your base one that you. Yes. It's like you have a swatch and you just a sticky note when ordering fabric on it. This is what this weighs.
Yes, exactly.
You know, I think that's a great idea.
I think that is a really good idea.
Little fabric. You know, like all the fabrics that you've ordered, because you do learn as you do it and as you make mistakes. There was one point when I think that I had ordered like all of the different kinds of Robert Kaufman knit fabrics online. And it was really helpful to know, like, well, this is what their organic stuff feels like, and this is what their modal blend is like. And I think that was a good bit of research that I unintentionally did.
Do you guys ever order swatches? You know how sometimes you can order swatches? Have you guys ever done that?
No. I usually want the fabric now.
I know. I'm too impatient.
I'm too impatient.
You know what? I got a Spoonflower gift card, which I actually don't know its current location, so I really need to find that. But I know, right?
Amanda has it. No, I'm just
I wouldn't put it past her. But I did order the Spoonflower swatch set. You know, they'll send you a swatch of all of their different fabrics so that you can, you know, because I figure if I'm gonna, you know, blow a pretty big gift card on self-printed fabric, the least I can do is make sure I like the fabric before I decide on my print and everything. So
totally. And that's another thing, like to gather some knowledge about like what's a poplin, what's a twill, what like you need to. I just pulled out this book that I had from fabric science class in school, and it's like the fabric swatch guide, and you can actually order this on Amazon, and it just has like every fabric. There's pages and their characteristics and the actual proper kind of weave and so you can feel it. So I have been actually utilizing that when I'm ordering fabric. But just kind of knowing and educating yourself. Yeah, what certain, like what's a chalice, which what does this feel like, or 'cause sometimes it's hard. Like if you just start out sewing too, and you order like you might know cotton, and you might it could be definitely hard. And another tip that I just wanted to get into, sometimes the smaller, kind of the ones with more curated, like I know Blackbird orders like this, just be wary of, a lot of times it's priced in half yards, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that can really get you, which I learned this weekend.
I've never actually seen that, but that's interesting. No, I've only ever seen, I mean, you can buy, well, one of my favorite stores, you can buy fractions of a yard, and one of the others you can't.
Yeah.
So, but that's when you're saying I want 1.5 yards as opposed to, buying this in half yards.
Yeah, but they're actually like listed at, like when you see the price, like usually you would just think, oh, that's per yard,
Right.
and you see the price, but it's per half yard, and so you needed to order more. But so that's just one thing to be conscious of when you're and then obviously how much to order. I know Stylish Fabrics, they have a I find it helpful. They have a fabric estimator, and they have the estimate for like a shorts, a pair of pants, a shirt, and they have like a jumpsuit, a men's top, and it's a good range, like not too broad, but a good range to estimate if you kind of generally want to make a skirt, how much to order. So I always think that those, and again, the more information, the better. So what's our favorite places to shop from? What sites do we go to the most?
You just brought up Stylish Fabrics, and I very much like shopping at Stylish Fabrics. The more I think about it, I'm not sure that I've ever bought anything from them except for their jersey, their rayon jersey. But I really love their rayon jersey. It's really drapey, and it's really soft. And it comes in a whole bunch of different weights. That's actually where I got my base weight swatch, was my tank top, my tank top weight jersey. And then since then I've acquired some slightly heavier that I make bottoms with. So I have my bottom weight, my top weight. So big fan of them. I also really like Fashion Fabrics Club. I know Amanda and I were talking about this earlier. She's had some weird experiences with them, but I've found everything I've gotten from them I've absolutely loved, except for that one knit without good recovery. And, all in all, based on the whole number of things that I've gotten from them, I'm not, really freaked out about that one. I think you have to expect some fails in the whole situation.
Totally. And I will say they're super affordable.
Yes. Stylish Fabrics, too. They're both good prices.
I think that comes into play for me sometimes too. Like I might be willing to take a gamble on some yardage that's not super duper expensive. And then if it's, not a complete success, still be okay with things.
Right. But then if you want to, if you're going to spend $15 a yard on something, then you want to know that it's reliable. And that's when I actually go to fabric.com, which I believe is associated with Amazon. I think it's the same company. And
really?
I think so.
Yes.
And I that's where I usually get my name brands. If I want to get a Robert Kaufman fabric or a Telio fabric or something like that, that's where I usually go to look, because they usually have them there and have them branded so that you can be like, okay, I want to get, the Robert Kaufman linen in this color. Oh, look, they've got the Robert Kaufman in this color. So, those are kind of my go-tos. How about you guys?
I'm also a fan of fabric.com, and I think it's because I do get a lot of Robert Kaufman fabric from them. It's again, like my basics, like if I need some denim or some linen, I feel like they stock a lot of different kinds of fabric. And if I'm going to do like a bigger purchase for the season, then I'm probably going to go there because I know I can get a bunch of different kinds of fabric. But I have a lot of other favorites too. I am a fan of Mood. I haven't bought a ton of fabric from them, but I feel like they also have a really good collection. And I like that they have a lot of really special type stuff. They have a lot of dead stock and, designer fabrics that you really can't find anywhere else, which I think is awesome. But also, like, sometimes it sells out really quickly, or faster than the time I would have to get a swatch and decide yes or no. And that kind of pressure just, sometimes I can't handle it. I'm also a big fan of Blackbird fabrics. I feel like they do such a good job of having a lot of different types of photography, and also show a lot of examples of their fabric sewn up in indie patterns. So you can, see that particular fabric in a pattern, and maybe it's the exact pattern you were thinking about making, or maybe it's something similar, and you can just really get a sense of how the fabric performs. So I really value that. Same with fancytigercrafts.com. They are actually local to Denver. So I love supporting them. It's a great small business in the Denver area, but also kind of awesome because you can order from them. They are doing curbside pickup right now because of the quarantine situation, but also I can, if I really have to have something, I can jet down there and pick it up. Plus, they're all so nice, and it's a really, again, inspiring group of passionate makers, and they have a really active blog, and so you can see different fabrics sewn up in different patterns. Also, a really, really big fan of Stone Mountain and Daughter Fabrics. They have
them.
Oh, they have an extensive collection. Yeah.
Would be doing a lot.
Danger Zone, pretty much all of this is Danger Zone. But they just have an extensive collection, a lot of natural fabrics and fibers, and just a ton of stuff, and a nice mix of staples and special stuff, which I think is, and a lot of imports, I feel like. So some stuff that just you're not going to find anywhere else, which I think is awesome. Also a big fan of Style Maker Fabrics. It's a small fabric store, and they do a really neat thing. I think each season they put together, they kind of put together a collection of fabrics, and then they do a blog tour each season and show the different fabrics kind of sewn up in different patterns. But it's kind of cool because you can shop by collection. So there's like a winter florals collection, or there's like a beach collection, and all of the fabrics kind of coordinate loosely. So if you were like shopping for the season and you wanted to make a couple of things, you could kind of start there and know that the things are going to go together, which I think is just a really neat way to curate fabric. One final one I'll mention, and then I have a question too, is for iCat Fabrics, which is kind of one of my favorite things to sew. It's like hand woven, but you get a little bit of pattern and print in there, and it just has a neat look, and it's so comfortable. A lot of times I think it's largely cotton, but I ordered from Itokri. It's ITOKRI.com, and they're actually based in India, and they source the handwoven fabrics directly from the makers. I haven't done like a full set of research about them, but I know that several other people online order from them, and they are like super friendly. I think that was the most fun package I have ever opened in my life. It came with goodies. It came with, like their regional newspaper wrapping around the box of fabric. It was so cool.
Is that what you sewed your roll in? That was one of those fabrics. Nice.
Exactly. And it's really, again, it's pretty affordable. But they have just an extensive collection, and I was super happy with how quick it came, largely because it was the start of the quarantine setting, and I had forgotten that I had ordered the fabric. So it came, and it was like right on time.
Yes.
But really good customer service as well. So, but I know a lot of people actually buy fabric on eBay, and I was curious to hear if either one of you had done that.
I haven't. No.
Wait,
that's not right. I did.
What? You did?
A couple of years ago, I have a purse that I wanted to make using this metallic pink cork that my mother-in-law gave me. And I was just searching and searching and searching for some quilting cotton that would go with it. And I finally found, who was it? Oh gosh darn it. Well, it'll come to me eventually, but I found a specific collection that had just exactly the colors I wanted. It had like a perfectly matching pink that was kind of metallic, and then it was white and black, and it had some stripes, and it had some polka dots, and it had some hearts, and it was fantastic, but I could not figure out where I could possibly find it locally. And I think fabric.com was out of it. And in the end, I found it on eBay, and I got, I think, 3 fabrics from that collection to make the purse, and it went lovely. I got my fabrics. They were just what I wanted them to be, and everything was great.
Nice. Yeah, I'm kind of overwhelmed with the search functionality on eBay and in general. It's hard.
Bidding, even buying anything on eBay kind of, I don't know. I've only done it once and it was very confusing.
Yeah. But I think you can get a deal. Like I think.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
I think
mine wasn't a bidding situation. It was
just like a buy it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm intrigued. I wonder if anyone knows any tricks for eBay fabric scores. Let us know.
Yeah.
Well, again, totally. I knew exactly what I was looking for, so I think that helped a lot.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it is different.
The brand.
Yeah. If you're looking for quilting cotton, then I think you could still get surprised by quilting cotton if you don't know exactly what you are purchasing. But in general, that's a lot easier to purchase online than garment fabric. What about you, Meg? Do you have favorites?
Well, I really like Blackbird. They're the ones that I like to try and shop in Canada because of like duty, just to avoid even duty charges. Sometimes when they come from, when I ordered some from fabric.com, I actually ordered my wedding, the jumpsuit, the bottom kind of fabric, that satin I ordered from them, and it was great. It actually,
the green fabric?
No, the ivory kind of satin that I made the bottom of my jumpsuit in, and thank gosh it perfectly matched my lace, but there was like some like duty charge. I don't know. So I try and always shop Canadian where I can, and so Blackbird is probably my favorite. I really like, and I like how it's like they do the work for you in the terms of you're getting a quality fabric. Like I like I like how it's not as overwhelming, and they give different pattern selections. It's curated. I really like that. I also love, and I ordered a bunch over the weekend. Is she's local to Toronto. It's called Match Point Fabric, and I think she was even a guest on our friends over at Love to Sew too. She did a podcast about like sustainable fabric. So all of her is like locally sourced dead stock and sustainable basics. And so it's all and some of her proceeds go to like the Clean Clothes campaign. And so I ordered a bunch from her there, and I'm super excited. I have plans for a jumpsuit, I think. Well, we'll see when it gets in. I don't know. But
I like might change.
Yeah, plans might change, but those are really, but from experience through work, I really like Minerva Crafts as well. But just be careful. Sometimes in they're UK based. They're in meters, so sometimes you need to be when you're ordering kind of yardage that from meters to yards and just things like that. But I guess it's okay if you think you're ordering in yards, but in this meters because you get more than what you thought.
Right. If you're going the other way
is not as fun. Yeah. So I really like them, and I'm really I want to try Fancy Tiger Crafts. I want to do an order from them. I know my friend who just started sewing again. I was asking her, I was like, where did you get fabric? She goes, it's actually at this place in Denver. And I was like, oh, really? Where? She goes, Fancy Tiger Crafts. I was like, oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I was like, I know them. And
yeah,
she got their Fen dress. Like she ordered the paper pattern, and she's made it like it's the only pattern she has right now. She's made it 5 times. Like,
oh, that's a good one though.
I
yeah,
know.
it's super cute. Cute pattern.
So I think that's on my list to order from. Order from next, but yeah. And I also love spoon flower. I think they're I like how you can order different prints on different fabrics. I actually have ordered. That was kind of my first actually online fabric ordering experience because it was kind of custom. So I used to order them like years ago. I'm doing some custom prints. So yeah. So those are my top picks. It's hard to say if I will continue going shopping online as much when the fabric stores open. I'm a bit curious what will happen when I can go to fabric stores again. Like, will I continue to still order or just really not anymore? I don't know. So we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, I can see a place for both.
Yeah.
In your sewing, if online is your place to get your like things that you know what you're going to get.
Yes.
And then in person is your impulse stuff. Because I don't think it's fun to do it 100% either way. It's kind of nice to do a little bit of both as you're sewing. So there are those kind of one-off queue jumping projects and fabrics. So yeah, there's room for everybody.
Yeah. And please, if anyone has any online fabric sources for interfacing, like a woven fusible, please let me know. Everywhere, Amazon sold out. I tried to look at like Fabricville, which is like I think the Canadian version of Joann's, and they're all out. I need interfacing, and I can't find it anywhere.
No. That's so strange. I wonder why.
I don't know.
Do you think people were? I know that there were a couple of fabric mask patterns that called for an interfacing layer, but it was I don't think it was sew-in. It wasn't fusible.
It's things have gotten pretty. I made my willow tank with I cut the combined facing just in a thicker fabric.
Yeah, like, that's a work around.
It actually kind of worked. I'm not gonna lie.
Nice.
So I'm being creative. Maybe we could have an episode on other things that you can do if you don't have interfacing.
Yeah.
But you should. And then I've even had to dive into like, for just basic embroidery, like backing, like that really cheap, like rip apart. What is it called? Like Pellin, the fusible.
Yeah,
I don't like using that for garments, but it's like too papery, but I had to use it for a waistband. And I don't know. Things are getting real. Desperate.
Things are getting grim.
Things are getting grim on the interfacing end. It's going to be real. I literally have a piece like this big left, and I'm just saving. I don't know what for, but we'll see. So
she was indicating, I'd say maybe 2 feet by 1 foot.
I always forget that no one can see me except for you two. I'm like holding up my hands. Yeah, it's anyways. Yeah, 3 feet by like 2 feet.
Yeah.
So not that much. Oh. Well, I think I definitely need to check. I'm going to check out. We'll put all the links in our show notes, but I'm going to go through every one that Amanda recommended. I'm scared what I'll come out with, but
I know danger zone.
I'm not going to do it until I can think of something I actually need, which surprisingly is right now. So we'll see how that goes.
Surprise.
Oh, before I have some, I want to first, before we take a break and hop onto our next topic, I want to know some of Amanda's fails. And then before I forget, I have some knit tips for getting knits online. Just make sure to look for if it's a 2-way or a 4-way stretch. So if you're making a thing like a bathing suit or like kind of activewear, you definitely want it to be 4-way stretch. So that's a good indicator if you know it's the right knit for you. 2-way stretch, it won't stretch like lengthwise. So definitely no like bodysuits or anything. And then also look for the spandex percentage in the actual content. So if there's, good 20% spandex, it's nice and stretchy and good. So those are just two little numerical, the second one, I guess it is. It has 2-way and 4-way. What am I talking about? References. And now I want to know Amanda's greatest fail from ordering online?
Oh, I think I have the usual assortment. Like sometimes I've just gotten the wrong fabric. Like the listing was wrong and then I got it. Or sometimes things are surprisingly metallic and it wasn't listed that they were metallic. Again, usually okay with that. A big thing for me has been sheer fabric with both knits and wovens. Like anything. That's why I order dark and black fabric a lot because I mean those can still be sheer, but I think anytime I venture out of that, I feel like I've gotten a lot of fabric that came in and was sheerer than I thought it would be, sheerer than it's listed to be, and so it's usually that's the stuff that sits in my stash because I don't really know what to do with it. And then I think the other thing that has happened a lot has been just wrong color tone. So I was kind of trying to figure out which color is the hardest to purchase online. I think they all have their like particular challenges, but as I mentioned, olive green coming in as like drab gray happens to me a lot. I feel like brown is really hard to order online because, and that was a fail for me recently. I ordered some twill that was umber and it came and it's like chocolate cake brown. Like there's no umber about it. So I don't know. I think those are probably my biggest.
It's amazing how many shades of brown there are.
Brown is hard. And but I think red is probably pretty hard too, but blue might be safest because chances are if it's like off a little bit, you'll still like it because blue's so likable, but I don't know. Olive green and brown have been the hardest for me, I think.
I just ordered some brown fabric. Now I need to go look at the picture. Hopefully.
My olive green was pretty successful. So and my kind of khaki beige tan was pretty successful. So I'm feeling pretty good about my colors right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think it just, it depends on how many photographs you have to kind of compare it to, how many photographs they have on their site. And even then, again, like surprising.
Also, I can think of some things that could happen for fails is print scale. If you think you're getting something, just to know a scale. I like when they have like measurements. So again, obviously always I could see how that could go very wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think stripes too. I think, I mean, even if they have the ruler, you get it in person.
Yeah.
I've definitely ordered fabric that I thought was striped with the grain and came across the grain before, just because of how it was photographed. But I think there's, even if you know everything you can know about it before you order, you still kind of have to look up. And maybe sometimes that's good, it's a little creative challenge for you. And maybe it turns into something else that you absolutely love that you wouldn't have made if you had gotten exactly what you wanted. So
do you measure your fabric when you cut? Because I know at the fabric store, you can see them going like 1, 2, 3. Do you re-measure it when you get it in to see if you got enough?
Only if I think it looks off.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering. That just came to mind.
But yeah, like mind. I don't think that's happened too much. Occasionally, actually, I think Fashion Fabrics Club will occasionally send a little bit more than I order.
Oh, love that.
Which isn't a bad thing. So yeah, I think only if you think it might be way off. Yes. Otherwise, I trust people.
And then another is to look at the width so if you're knowing you're ordering a certain amount of fabric, make sure to look at the width. If it's really narrow, you'll need more. And if it's wide, well, you'll just have more fabric. If you just, like me, I over order in like literally everything.
Yeah.
I'm always on the upper end of ordering because I do love scraps as well.
I will say that reminds me, one time I ordered 2 yards of fabric and I think it was from one of the bigger online fabric stores and it came in 2 single yard cuts. And I was like,
rude.
guys, this won't work.
How
and I guess
rude.
ran out and then started the next bolt, which you would think that they would know that wasn't okay. But the other thing about the fabric was it was more of a textured fabrics can be a little tricky too. Like if because you can kind of get a sense of it. But I had ordered this like a double gauze and it was like completely flat. Like there was no texture to it at all. So it may have been that you wash it and it kind of crinkles up, but I couldn't get past the 2 yards cut in half.
That's a tragedy. That is such a tragedy.
I feel like most, I feel like there's pretty good customer service in the fabric,
for sure.
The online fabric world. So,
do you order thread online ever?
I don't, but I know that there are a couple of online stores that will thread match for you and send you fabric. I wish I could remember who does it. I can put it in the show notes because I'll figure it out. But that is a handy thing because I can't imagine trying to, unless you had a thread card, which I've seen a couple people purchase thread cards to buy thread online. So you get the full card and you can match it to the fabric you have and order it and know that it'll come in.
Yeah. Because I'm thinking if I'm ordering fabric online, but I need to go to the store with my swatch anyway to get thread, it's like might as well just get my fabric from, I don't know.
I just end up buying more.
Yeah, it just popped into my mind right now. Like if going pure online, like thread, I was like, I don't even know where to buy thread online. Oh my gosh!
I'll do some research and report back.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I know where to buy some embroidery thread online, but that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, that is a whole other thing for sure.
Oh, hey, and I just figured out before we get into our next section who is offering thread matching with their online fabric purchases, and it's Style Maker Fabrics.
Oh, nice.
And I think it's a service they just started. There may be some other stores, but I think that's definitely worth looking into, especially if it's a really different kind of shade from your normal and what you might have in your stash. So, fun fact, there you go.
Cool.
Thank you.
Juicy topic, y'all.
Yes,
for sure. Shall we take a quick break and then come back in a moment?
Yeah, let's do it.
So in May, we talk here at our company about being raised by a maker, but our parents aren't the only makers in our lives. I want to talk about the other makers we know and how we share our crafts with them, not just sewing specifically, but any craft that strengthens the bond between us. So I'm going to ask for some specific examples instead of just general stuff. And we're going to start with, how do you share crafts with your family?
For me, it's really I think the biggest sharing moment happens when I make things for my family. I don't think there's much chance that I'm going to convert my husband into sewing his own pants, but I will certainly try and tempt him. But I think that's really kind of the moment when we kind of share the handmade. I learned how to sew from my mom, and my grandma was also very active sewer and knitter, and so I feel like those kinds of that interest was handed to me at a really young age. I totally jumped the gun and bought my daughter her first little purple Janome sewing machine. I think it was the Christmas she turned 4.5, which is like so way young to try to teach someone to use a sewing machine. And now I think she's, finally almost ready to start using it. But she is very into it. So I'd say those are kind of the main things, by giving handmade gifts. And then eventually when my daughter's ready, when I'm ready, we'll probably sew together.
Oh, that's so sweet. Do you think there's any chance you'll sew with your sons too? Or you think it's just going to be the girl?
They are really interested in it. They really like the serger because, it has a knife and
it goes vroom.
It's so fast and it makes a lot of noise. So they come in very often, and I put them to work. My daughter, I had her help sewing masks, just pinning and some basic tasks and some pressing. And my sons will help out too. They are excited about the pins because they're very sharp and dangerous. And yeah, I could see them, and if they're into it, I will totally teach them. I could see it happening. It involves machines, so yeah.
I think it depends on the kid, honestly.
Yeah, totally. How about you guys?
Yeah, well, I share my crafts the same, whereas like they tell me something that they want and then I make it for them. Yeah, basically. Because no one really in my family, like my mom or my dad was like a sewer, and my grandparents were, but they passed when I was really young. So it didn't really, I guess my one grandmother, she kind of did, but it was, I don't know, I just wasn't raised kind of around it. But yeah, just how I share it with now is a lot of just, I know even Julian's dad, he does a lot of kayaking, and he wanted like a little sail cover, and he's like, you can just make a cover for this this little spout in the I don't even know what it's called, but it's just so funny. But I think Julian's getting interested in starting to sew for himself a little bit. He still wants to make that big onesie so I promised him this week. He says he's doing it today. He just heard me.
Okay.
That is awesome.
Yeah, he says he wants to film it as well as like a little special series or something.
He can become a Men Who Sew celebrity.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some amazing male sewists out there, but I feel like there's room for more. Get that YouTube channel going.
So that's kind of, where I'm at now. How about you, Kate?
So in my family, it's kind of funny. My mom, she knew how to sew, and she would do it on occasion. And she had other crafts that she did and did them on occasion. But she didn't really pick up her big craft, which is quilting, until I went to college, which is also when I started to sew, was a little bit after I went to college. So we kind of came into our own favorite crafts at the same time, but they're kind of split. She does her quilting thing and I do my garment sewing thing. And I'm not going to say never the twain shall meet, but they don't meet very often. But I think it's nice for us because we can kind of get in touch with each other. If I need any quilting expertise, if I'm working on anything, if I'm piecing something, like I did not understand the concept of nesting until she showed me. So I can go to her for that. And then if she has any questions about garment sewing, if she has an interest in doing that at any point, she can ask me, and we kind of trade that information back and forth. And then, of course, my husband does sew. He is by his own wording. He is a hack. So he's not so great at using patterns necessarily. He never uses the recommended amount of seam allowance. He kind of makes stuff up, but I mean, I'm actually really impressed by some of the things he does. He wanted to do a cowl neck, like a really deep cowl, like a cowl neck that was long enough to actually be like a hood, like actually go up onto the top of his head and then kind of sit under his chin. And I was like, I don't think that's going to work. I mean, here's how you do it, but I don't know that that's good. And he did it and it looks fine. And I was really impressed. So he still comes to me fairly regularly for advice. And sometimes he doesn't know terms. So he'll come up to me and he'll be like, what does this mean? And I'll have to explain it to him. And so we get to kind of share that back and forth. And sometimes we help each other out with projects. And yeah, it's a really nice thing to be able to share with him, even though he sews a lot less than I do. He goes through little spurts where he'll sew a bunch and then he'll be frustrated, so he'll stop for a while. Yeah. So that's family. How do you share crafts with your friends?
I try to be as much of an enabler as possible at all times. And, you know, whenever we go, I've done some trades with other kind of crafty, artsy friends, which has been kind of awesome. But I also, you know, I wear my stuff and they ask me, did you make that? Yes, I did. It wasn't that hard.
Yeah.
You know, and I have actually been thinking about, I've had a couple people ask in the neighborhood to do kind of like a sewing, like a group session, not necessarily classes, but like an open workshop where people could come, you could help them out. They could be making whatever they want to make. And then I could see myself doing that in the future when I have a little bit more free time and people can be together again.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, I haven't had too many wins on the converting people to sewing, but I definitely talk about it a lot and, you know, do what I can to kind of like get rid of the stigma that it has to be perfect, you know, let people know it's, you know, it's a process. It's very forgiving and just do what I can to kind of, you know, be the person that people know who sews so they know who to come to when they have questions or they want to, you know, take some next steps. So, yeah.
Yeah. I love to have, you know, friends over to sew. I've had a couple times where, you know, I set up some machines and it's like an evening and there's wine and cheese and it's like so much fun. And I've even like kind of lent out a few sewing machines. A couple friends have really taken to sewing and I love that. And it's kind of like, I think it's the saying, like, you know, when you teach a man if you give a man a fish, then he'll eat for one day. What if you teach like he eats for a while? Is that the saying?
Yeah, if you teach him to fish, he'll eat for his entire life.
Yeah. So for me, along those lines. And so kind of because I'm sure you do too, so many requests for jean hems and and I just hate doing it. And so if you just, even if they want to just come over and use my machines and hang out while they do it themselves, or even if you want me to do it, at least come over and hang out with me while I'm doing it, because it is sometimes hard to get like one-on-one time with my friends and stuff. So I try and share, you know, with them that way. If, you know, someone has a few alterations or they want to make something, I'm just like, yeah, come over. Like, don't just ask me. And even if you're, I hate when people say like, oh, I'll pay you. It's like, no, like it's not that. It's like it's really the time. And I'd rather just hang out with you and like, I'll make this for you or do that. Just, you know, bring me a bottle of wine and just have it with me while we work together. And maybe more so after it's done, but it might not be the best job while doing it. But so that's how I share. It's kind of, I like that aspect because it is sometimes hard just, especially in the big city in Toronto, if you want to hang out with friends, you're always, you know, feel like you need to go to expensive like bars and restaurants. And so it's a good way to hang out and save money too.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So my best friend, Abby, is somebody I met when we worked together in a costume shop at a local theater here in the Denver area, the Arvada Center, if anybody locals knowing about that. And so we were friends working there together for several years. And then we have continued to be friends after we both left that costume shop work. And I think it's really interesting because she works doing wedding dress alterations and sales. She has a complicated job at a local wedding shop, but so she sews a lot during her day. And she has lots of really, really fascinating stories that she'll tell me about things that she has to do and things that she has to rebuild and alterations she has to do and all this stuff. And it's absolutely fascinating. And I think it's valuable for her to have somebody to talk to who really understands the process. Like if she says, I have to, you know, do X, Y, and Z, I understand what X, Y, and Z means a lot more than her husband or my husband for that matter. And so I can sit there and commiserate with, you know, I had to, you know, take this overskirt and make it into a bolero jacket. And, you know, the whole idea of that is, so it's really fun to share that with her. And she doesn't do a whole lot of sewing for herself or outside of work, because when you sew all day at work, one of the things that you don't necessarily want to do is sew after work, except for Meg. You apparently like to do it that way. I don't know.
I love to do that.
But
I'm staring at these projects that are cut behind me.
I know. I think the wedding dress stuff can be a lot more intense and, and emotional. I think there's a lot of emotional work around it.
Totally. Yeah.
And so she'll make costumes for her kids, which I always love to see that happen too. So we share that together. And then I have another friend who I actually years and years ago taught to cross stitch. And we would have these sessions where I'd just go over to her house and we'd sit on her sofa and we'd both cross stitch on our own projects and chat all evening and, laugh at the cats and just generally have a lovely, mellow cross stitching evening, which I always thought was a really nice, I don't know, it's a nice little aspect to our friendship. She has kids now, and we don't really do that anymore. But it was a great little section of my life when we got to do that all the time.
Uh-huh.
So both those people were kind of friends of mine. Well, with Abby, it was definitely because we were both doing the same job, but that involved sewing. But those were sort of independent friends. I'm wondering, do you have any friends in your life that you only know because of sewing or some other craft that you do?
Well, you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yes. Okay. Anybody other than us?
I was thinking about all of my Instagram friends.
Yeah.
I mean, I know,
you've got a big collection of those.
Well, and I feel like, I've been thinking about a lot about Instagram lately, but I've got kind of my personal Instagram page and I've got my sewing Instagram page. And I tend to think of like, those are just my sewing people. And like, but it's a very supportive community. Mm-hmm. It's so hard because you do have to keep in mind, like you're only seeing this one little slice of people's lives that they want to share. But at the same time, like there's a deeper connection happening there in a lot of cases. Yeah. And I really do consider some of those people my friends, who will send you a DM and ask you how you're doing and check in on you, or, just, I do feel like you're seeing their sewing life, but you learn a lot about them through that. And you eventually come to know more about their family and their personal situation. And I don't know. So I feel like I would definitely put my Instagram people in that category. And I would definitely call them friends.
Good. I would have called them friends too. So I'm glad you did.
I mean, it's just, I think sometimes, you do have to kind of like step back and think, okay, how much do I actually know about these people?
Right.
And sometimes it's a lot and you feel like a stalker, but, I do, there's a lot of like pretty genuine back and forth happening, particularly in the sewing community.
I believe that online friends are real friends.
Yeah.
And certainly there's a level of, this person is somebody I just, do that's beautiful comments on. And then there are people that you have a deeper connection with. And, there are different levels. For me, I can think of one very specific person. I actually met at a OSQUI event, the original Quilt and Sew Expo, or I guess it's Sew and Quilt Expo, back when I was actually there with Meg and our old boss. And we were doing a whole event sort of situation. And we were doing this game where we were kind of doing we have half hour to sew a thing. You remember that, Meg?
It was like a relay. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a relay.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the people that I was participating with, we just hit it off like just instantly. And we both liked cosplay. We both had kind of the same sense of humor. And we just had such a good time. And we actually were Facebook friends now. And I haven't actually checked in with her to see. She was planning on doing a trip out here in June, and we were going to go out to dinner, but I don't know if that's still going to happen with the thing. So I think that's kind of cool. So,
totally cool.
Totally sewing friends.
I love meeting up with online friends in person. Kind of a different topic, but I think that's when, that's when you realize there's probably a lot more to this person than I even realized. And I don't know, it's kind of awesome though, when you can kind of extend that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
all
lots
right.
of sewing online friends. It's good.
And one more, just because it's me. How do you share your crafts with your pets?
Oh.
They both look over their shoulder for their pets.
I know. I was like, he's just like
share
always
a lot
there.
Of, like scraps and fabric strips with my cat.
Oh, yes.
He likes to play with them. Share my space with my pets.
Yeah.
Because they love to be in my sewing room. But I don't make them a lot of projects. I probably should.
Yeah.
But
well, it's okay if you don't. I'm just curious how they interact with your sewing life.
I mean, they get in the way a lot of times, but
yeah.
How about you, Meg?
Taken, you should see, I have like 20 Berta magazines, and I keep them like in a organized but I have no more space, but on the floor, and every single one of them is just chewed up the sides. And if I had my paper, like my PDF, when all my printed patterns, like on the floor for a second, I needed something underneath it, and she just chomped off corners. Like Bunny would never did that, but she is just, so she eats my paper patterns and my Berta magazines, and she lays. She lays, and I guess I say I make her a bed, but I really just like sewed a square of fuzzy fabric and laid it on the floor. But she loves it. She's there every single day, and she just loves the space. Like she's just right behind me, so that's how I share. Yeah. Oh, and this just came to mind as we were talking about kind of sharing. It's not, but for fabric and kind of sharing it with friends. My one friend who started sewing again, she is a little 1-year-old, and she asked me for various fabric scraps because to develop her son's like touch sensory. He likes touching different things. So I cut squares of all like Minky and stuff. And she's like, he loves the double gauze, and like, so just kind of sharing it with friends, kind of extending to, if for scrap fabric, that's kind of sharing it. So I just thought that was so cool. And he's just like
awesome.
touching different things. Yeah. I'm sorry that I related that to how you share with your pets.
Oh, no. That was definitely a jump back in the conversation, and not calling your friend's child a pet at all.
That was more so on me thinking of it as we were talking. That's more on me to say sorry.
Well, okay. Of course, my cats love to help me with my sewing. They like to lay on my fabric. Actually, Maggie likes to play with my fabric while I'm laying it out. She will roll around on it and grab it with her paws and like nuzzle it and just do her very, very best to mess it up. Romulus likes to get on the ironing board and be in the way there. He also likes to try to eat pins. So we're working on teaching him not to eat pins. I know. I have to keep my pin cushions upside down because otherwise he just pulls them out and then tries to swallow them. So no worries. As far as I know, he's never successfully done it. But man, he will just keep trying. He really will. And of course, when I knit or crochet, they very much like to attack the yarn and lay on it, but also attack it. And also steal the yarn balls if I'm not careful, and run around the house with them and leave a long trail of yarn that is then wrapped around every possible table leg and chair wheel in the house that I have to then try to untangle it from. So they share my crafts in many useful, helpful ways.
So useful.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, I love them, and I'm always entertained when they're doing something horrible to my crafting. What can I say? All right. Anybody have any additional thoughts about sharing crafts with people in your lives?
I don't think so. I do think about it. Like I do try to be a sewing cheerleader, like tell people it's fun. It's a creative outlet. It's fulfilling. You're making something that you can use. And I feel like I can always do that more. And I think that that's going to be really important after the quarantine situation, just as people, so many people have either bought new sewing machines to get started with masks, and then, or dusted off their sewing machine. And I definitely feel like it's a pretty exciting moment to be thinking about sharing our love for sewing. So I need more sewing swag. Like I need some more. I have a couple sewing t-shirts, but like I want to be, and every time I wear them out, people talk to me about sewing. So, I think it's an interesting moment for it. And also, for people, I'm like, I haven't been bored at all, people. I'm at home. I've got 3 small children to keep alive and feed, but I also like, it's been highly entertaining. It's probably eased a lot of my stress. And I feel like, that would be a good thing to share with people in my life.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Totally agreed.
Well, with that, shall we jump into SewJo?
Let's do it.
All right. I love this portion of the show. This is when we talk about our current sewing inspiration. And Meg, since it sounds like you are sewing up a storm, what is your SewJo this week?
Well, I just printed out like a little, I want to make like a cross between like a jacket and a cardigan. I just need more. I've been just sewing a bunch of willow tanks and like the Taro shells, sorry. And I just need more. I don't need quite like a jacket, but I just need more layering pieces when I'm going out. So I forgot. I did actually make a cardigan too this weekend.
What?
A knit cardigan. Yeah. So yeah, it brings it up to 4 tops, a cardigan, and a pair of pants.
Oh my gosh.
Nice.
Now I just, cut out. So now I'm working on like a
little jacket. What about you, Kate?
Okay, well, I'm still kind of chewing over some hacks in my brain, but also a friend of mine brought up the desire to do a group cosplay for a very popular anime once we can all get together again. The idea being you work on it during quarantine, and then when quarantine's over, we all get together, do a big photo shoot, something like that. So I'm kind of toying around with that idea. I'm not sure if I'm going to join in or not. If I am, I'm going to be doing something relatively simple. But if I don't do that, then the next thing that is giving me SewJo is this hack I'm thinking that I might do with the Zadie jumpsuit, which is not very complicated. It's mostly just making it into a romper.
Fun.
Oh, yeah.
Would that be cute? I feel like it would be cute. So,
search the hashtag. I know people have made it into a romper.
Well, and I think it's really just about taking the pants shorter and then using the short sleeve version. So it's not like complicated hacking. It's just a little bit of hacking. And I think I've got enough fabric to do it on a roll that I picked up from Colorado Fabrics. So kind of excited about it.
Nice. Yeah, that will totally work. That'll be like a different style for you, I feel like.
Yes, it will. It'll be a very different style.
I'm so excited to see it.
Me too.
Oh gosh, now I've got to do it.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do.
This is why I haven't told you about it yet. I've been thinking about it for like 2 weeks. Like,
that is so fun.
If I tell them, I'm going to have to do it. But okay, maybe I'm committed now. I guess I have to go buy the pattern.
Nice. I have so many things that I want to sew, but I have discovered that I have all of a sudden become really precious about all my fabric. I don't know why. I have some fabric for a Zadie jumpsuit that I bought in London last fall, and I think I'm just thrown for a loop because I'm wearing such different stuff now. I'm like, what do I even wear anymore? What do I want to wear this summer?
Yeah.
Like, I just feel a little bit thrown for a loop. So I was second guessing that. And also I have a Roscoe blouse dress hack that I've been toying with, but it's using some of my iCat from Atakri. And again, like just started to feel super special and precious about it. So I think I just have to, but every time I do this, I get something with a particular project in mind, and then I hem and haw, and then I come back to my original plan to make it and it's beautiful and lovely. So that's probably what I'll end up doing.
So you're just going through your cycle right now.
I really, someday I'll learn that like that is part of my cycle. But so I'm feeling a little bit of paralysis on the making front, but I think it'll work itself out.
Yeah.
It'll
yes.
happen.
I know. I get like everything that I've been sewing lately has only been made out of like offcuts of other projects. I get really like, you're just saving it for like a piece of fabric that is like new, that hasn't been cut into before.
I know. I mean, I think part of the problem is, I order something or get it with something in mind. And then if I don't make it right away, it sits there. And then I think about all the other things that it could be.
Yes. You just need to cut it right away.
Yeah. But I will say too, like talking about all my online fabric purchases, I don't have a huge stash. Like I tend to make what I was planning to make with fabric that I bought. Right. And I burn through it pretty quick, apparently. Nice. It's like burns a hole in my pocket until I, can sew something up with it. But so fun. Thanks, you guys. Let's hop into Sew and Tell. For the last episode, we asked you, what's your favorite way to hack a pattern? And we got some great responses. Meg, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah. So Ricky Sews on Instagram commented, I like changing the neckline or combining the top from one pattern with a skirt of another. Love, love, love pattern hacking. I combined 2 patterns recently and also slash and spread using an image I found on Pinterest to guide me. I'd like to try more of that in the future. Nice. Pinterest is a good resource. Like there's tons of really cool visual pattern hacks that are really cool. I love that.
Yep. Yeah, I love that. Like, it's like you don't even need a pattern. You see the picture of how someone altered something and you just get experimental with it. I love it. We also heard from Fostering Sewing, who said, I like to switch out sleeve styles and also turn shirts into dresses. # you can hack it.
Yes.
I love it. I love it.
That's a great
I do that a bunch. I do the shirt to dress hack quite a bit.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's like, it's easy if you're doing something that's kind of bigger and boxy. Yeah. But I feel like you can get a lot of mileage out of patterns that way.
Yeah, for sure. We also heard from Pianja I. Stugan, who said, I haven't yet bought a pattern for overalls. Couldn't afford it last summer. Just hacked different trouser patterns and improvised the bibs and straps. Which is
I love that.
Yeah.
I know. I've even seen some hacks where like the bib is attached with buttons so you can take it off, which I love.
Oh, cute.
Yeah. I think there's like overalls are having a moment again. I feel like there's a lot of pinafore and jumpsuit style overalls out there right now. And too many new patterns coming out right now, you guys.
Oh, I know. What's that one you just said? It was the Hey Jude handmade with their those overalls. Oh,
the Greer jumpsuit.
To die for.
So
die
cute.
for.
So cute.
I have some lime green linen that's on its way in. I think I have an idea for it.
Lime green linen. Oh, I'm jealous.
I know. Yeah. That's perfect. That's a perfect combo.
Yeah.
All right. So for this episode, we want to know, what's your best online fabric buying tip? You can email us directly or comment on our Instagram feed, and maybe we will pick your answer to read. And I'm really interested to hear what other tips there are out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all kind of learn by trying, and we've learned our things. But I want to know what you guys have learned from your fails or successes.
And let me know where you can get interfacing in stock right now.
Meg's on the hunt.
Meg definitely need that.
Everywhere it's sold out. It's like there's a shortage of interfacing right now. Anyways.
Terrible. That is terrible. Well, all right, you guys, that was a fun show. And now I want to go do some fabric shopping.
Oh, I know.
But you always want to go do some fabric shopping.
Pretty much. It's my other hobby.
I just picturing all the tabs with full carts on your phone. That's so funny.
Yeah, I should probably like hand it off to my children and be like, oh, they accidentally bought them all.
Oh.
And see, I'm just looking up at my stash that I need to actually work on. And I'm like, no, you cannot do it. Don't do it, Kate. Don't do it. So we'll see how brave I'll be.
Yeah.
Well, cool, you guys. Good conversation.
As always.
Yeah, take good care. Until next time.
Yep. Stay healthy. Happy stitching. For links to everything we talked about in this episode, go to our show notes page at sewdaily.com/sewandtell. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at sewandtellpodcast@goldenpeakmedia.com or visit us on Instagram at sewandtellpod. Answer the Sew and Tell question, tell us your SewJo, or just leave us some feedback. If you enjoyed our show, please subscribe on your podcasting platform of choice. And please leave us a review, ideally a good one, because that helps listeners like you find our podcast. And tell your sewing friends about us too. Thanks for listening, and happy stitching. Sew and Tell is produced by Meg Healy, Amanda Carestio, and me, Kate Zeinard. Our consulting producer is Ron Doyle, and our executive producer is Jared Mayer.